Why are there so many seemingly random illegal Lego building techniques? Some unofficial Lego building techniques are considered illegal because they simply put too much strain on the Lego parts and could damage them in the long run. But by the end of this video, I hope that it will be much more clear to you how the actual Lego dimensions and measurements, and let's say certain design decisions, have led to what we consider illegal Lego building techniques. So let's just go back to basics for a second. Take your classic Lego plates and bricks. The plates are 3.2 millimeters tall and the bricks are 9.6 millimeters tall, also giving us that perfect ratio of 1 to 3. Now, in theory, not just the height, but every part of the Lego brick design is based on a nominal unit of, say, 1.6 millimeters. Now, that's all good, but that doesn't actually account for some of the illegal building techniques that we know of. As an example of what I'm saying, let's just look at the actual stud height. Now, the stud itself should be just one nominal unit high at 1.6 millimeters. However, the truth is, if you look at this little illegal build here using an Erling brick placed alongside a normal brick, this clearly demonstrates that the stud itself is slightly taller than that nominal dimension of 1.6. In fact, it's more like 1.7 something or 1.8 millimeters. So the actual measurement decided upon for the height of the stud is the reason why this build is considered illegal. It's generally agreed that a 1x1 Lego plate is not exactly 8 millimeters wide, rather it's 7.8 millimeters wide because it's kind of reduced on all sides by 1/10 of a millimeter. This also means that your classic 2x4 brick is not 16 by 32, but rather 15.8 by 31.8 millimeters. All of this, of course, is to give the bricks and plates a bit of horizontal tolerance on all sides. This reduction or adjustment has a kind of knock-on effect when it comes to brackets and other bricks with studs not on the top. So let's look a little bit more at Snot bricks. The thing is, with all of your bricks with studs not on top, including the Erling brick and what I call the single and double Snot bricks, and as well as the top-down and bottom-up brackets, they are all designed in a way that the plate or brick, which is placed sideways, meaning on the stud that's not on the side, that these plates or bricks perfectly align to the top edge, also leaving a small gap on the bottom edge. Now, this actually makes sense from a product design point of view. But if the Lego bricks and plates were based on the exact module width of 8 millimeters, well then the center of the stud on the side of a Snot brick would be 4 millimeters from the top edge. But we know that the bricks and plates are actually reduced by 1/10 of a millimeter. So in order for the brick or plate placed on the side of a Snot brick to be aligned to the top edge, well, it kind of needs to be moved up by 1/10 of a millimeter. So it's not 4 millimeters from the top edge, but 3.9 millimeters from the top edge and 5.7 millimeters from the bottom edge. Okay, so this is starting to get really technical, but the point is that everything I've just explained is not the case when it comes to Technic bricks, which have a completely different design history. Evidently, the designers took into consideration possible connections with axles, pins, Technic bricks, and Technic beams. For example, as you can see here, this Technic axle would need to clear the stud of the Technic brick. Also, as you can see here, it is possible to combine Technic bricks and Technic beams, but the studs under the beam would need to be completely cleared. So evidently the designers made the decision that the center of the pinhole would not be exactly 4 millimeters from the top edge or half a module from the top edge, but they're also not 3.9, but rather 3.8 millimeters from the top edge of the Technic brick. And the point is that this is the reason why it is considered illegal to mix Snot bricks and Technic bricks in certain ways. For example, if you have a plate connected to a Technic brick and then something on top of this, as you can see here, well, the plate there is actually not flush with the top edge of the Technic brick. So this creates a bit of misalignment and strain on the parts. Now, taking it yet one step further, this is evidently also the reason why using two brackets of the same kind under a Lego element like this is considered illegal. As you can see, the two studs are kind of shifted slightly, a fraction of a millimeter, in opposite directions. But when we use bracket parts which are complementary, then the two studs are both shifted in the same direction by a fraction of a millimeter, meaning that you can use them freely. It has been both challenging and rewarding to do so much focused research on the specific dimensions and measurements of Lego elements and illegal Lego building techniques. So also please consider subscribing to Intuitia as I continue to work hard on this building techniques series of tutorial videos.